It is Wednesday, the end of May, and we are joined by one of the baddest dudes on the planet, inside and outside of arm wrestling. Straight out of Eudora, Kansas, the Psycho, Southpaw Psycho, right? Not the Psycho Southpaw. Bo Oleson, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good, brother. How you doing, man? Thanks for
I'm
having me
doing
on.
good. Thanks for talking to us, man. I appreciate you coming on here. Before we get into the match that you got coming up. I mean, how long you been arm wrestling, man? 30 years? 40 years? How long's
Or
it been?
over, yeah. I mean, professionally, well over 20. I've been arm wrestling since I was just a kid. So, I mean, I've been arm wrestling. I'm 47. So, I've been arm wrestling well over 30 years, but I've been doing it professionally for probably since early to mid 90s, 93, 92, 93, somewhere in that area.
And you started at what year?
About 92 or 93,
92 or
probably.
93.
Yep.
Man. And you're still holding together because you're still rocking and rolling, man.
I've had a few bang up injuries. I've had a pretty good surgery. I had that bicep reattachment surgery, and they cleaned up a few things in there, but it's feeling really good right now. I'm actually really thankful that I was kind of forced to go ahead and do that. I didn't really have an option at the time. It finally went pretty good. So they didn't even give me an option. They said, "Hey, you're coming in Friday for surgery." So I'm like, "All right." So we did it, and it's fully rehabbed. The guys have been super awesome about working with me and getting me back up to strength and kind of getting that thing to where I can use that arm and I even starting to gain some top pressure, some outside pressure, which is something not many people have seen out of me for probably 20 years or so. So um, yeah, it's exciting, man. I have a great team to keep me in line, to keep me training. So I owe them all the credit for the rehabilitation of this right arm, man.
The team you got, I mean, it's a big team. You guys have
It
been
is.
go ahead.
We have a core, we have a really solid core group of guys. I'm sure you guys both know. You've been arm wrestling long enough, both of you. You know how that goes. I mean, we have a lot of people that have over the years. I mean, we've been rolling for a decade, man. So there's a lot of people over the years of they wear the shirt, they make the claims, but we have a good solid core group of about 10 to 12 guys that are here religiously. We have guys that drive several hours to practice one way. So that just shows a little bit about the dedication it takes to be part of the Psycho Armsports team. It's much more than a bunch of guys meeting and just arm wrestling and gripping up in a garage or a gym or someone's basement somewhere. We take it very serious. We take it to heart, and we're diehard about our training and our work ethics.
Yeah, you were the biggest team that I probably followed coming up when we started. It was like I always wished we could be as big as you guys were. Back in I guess 2015, my very first tournament, you were running the show. So both of you guys, this show is actually kind of important to me just because you guys are two of the most influential guys to me personally in the sport. Bo, you were there at the very first one. You refed my first match. It was a WAL card at Brewski's. I don't know if you even remember that back then. And
Yeah,
Matt, you
absolutely,
you
absolutely.
weighed us in. So
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, that was a fun tournament. Unfortunately, my elbow still hurts at times from that tournament, but yeah, it was a good one.
you had that match with
Uh,
Greg Allen.
my boy Greg's a beast. You guys have a great team too, man. You guys are plenty deep, man. You guys have grown into a little small monstrosity over there in Missouri, brother.
Yeah, we're getting to that psycho level. We're getting there. We got the same thing. A real good group of core guys that do show up all the time, and we consistently run practices out of my gym twice a week. And then there's another group that practices up north a little further, once a week, I think, or once every other week. So
That's what it takes, man. I mean, it takes a good group of guys willing to dedicate to make the gains, and I've even noticed it with we have guys on the team that don't even compete nearly as much as some of the other guys, and they're just as equally important because those guys stay fresh. So they're in there helping us get stronger, and whether they're going and competing at one or two or 10 tournaments a month, everyone is equally valuable and an equal asset on the team because we all help each other grow and get stronger. Man, these guys every ounce of strength I've gained since I've been back in the sport of arm wrestling since the last 10 or 12 years, I owe completely to these guys that I train with, 100%.
Do you think you're still ascending on your career, or do you think that you were peaked out at some point and you're just kind of maintaining? Where are you at in your career as far as strength and technique, talent?
Well, I don't want to give all my secrets away, but no, I mean, in all honesty, all BS aside, I'm sure all my guys that have trained with me religiously for the last decade would tell you that I am by far at my strongest I've ever been right now. I'm I'm getting healthy. I'm starting to feel really good. My left was a little banged up there. I took a super match with a super OG badass from way back in the day, Jared Lovulett. He's been arm wrestling for a equally long time. I took a match with him down in Arkansas at a event that Russ Schrader, and I'm not sure who else was putting on, but I know Russ had something to do with it. Russ is the one that actually got me to come down. So I took that match with him, and my left didn't feel great when I went down there for that match. But of course, I'm not going to say anything. If I can drag it to the table and put it on there and at least try to set the hook or something and try to go to work, at least I'm going to go try to make a match out of it. If I'm in so much pain I can't get to the table and arm wrestle comfortably, I'm not gonna take the match. But I was able to get in there and stop him up and got the 3-0 victory on him. So Jared's a bad dude, but my arm hadn't fully recovered from that super match down there, and it's just now starting to get to where I'm really starting to grind with my left again and kind of getting it working. I've been primarily working on this right and getting this right to come back and get healthy. So, it's by far caught up and exceeded the left probably right now. So, like you've been saying, Bill, maybe the orthodox psycho is in order for a little while.
All right. So it sounds like, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I was just going to ask what, were you guys pretty close in weight? I know Jared's a little bit of a bigger guy, so I didn't know if you were giving up weight, and I don't know what you're walking around at these days, but I was just curious on that size difference there.
I was on my way down. Excuse me. I'm on my way down. I'm trying to kind of linger down around the 220 to 230 range. But once I took this match with him, I kind of leveled off on my diet. I'm still I'm eating whatever I want to, whenever I want to, and I'm still 235 to 238. So, I mean, I'm going to walk in and just touch the scale. I'm not going to cut or anything. Right now, it's just about maintaining and staying healthy. We've been hitting it super, super hard. So I'm really going to kind of, ease off a little bit here lately. Or recently, coming up here, I just want to make sure I'm good and fresh. He's a big, strong kid, man. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a big kid, and I know he's hungry and he's an upcomer in the sport. So, sorry to you, friend, that I'm pulling, but I'm definitely coming in there and I'm teeing off. So, I mean, I'm definitely coming in there and not taking him lightly at all. I'm going to pull him just as I would if I was pulling, Brent or Jordan Seal or anybody else. I pretty much pull everybody the same. I pull to win.
Yeah. Mirzad is, I tell you what, from a technical aspect and, somebody that really studies the sport, he is incredible. He's always watching, videos. He's always, working on the tables, with different pullers, trying to, find those little things that he can absorb. And I think he's definitely on his way up. He's very strong. I've been fortunate enough to pull with him on the table, and he's a lot. I'll put it that way. I'm very interested in this match because I know you both, and I know what you're capable of, and I think it's a great opportunity for you both because I feel I don't want to say this disrespectfully, but people have forgotten what you're capable of. I've seen it firsthand. I've felt it firsthand, and it's a long day anytime you have to grip up with you. So I'm excited for that matchup to happen, and hopefully I'm front row center when it actually goes down.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to keep hanging in there, man. Like I said, it's these guys that really lifted me up and kept me going. So as long as I'm able to, I'm going to keep on hammering away. Excited for the match.
Well, we keep trying to give you somebody. You seem to be the gateway killer. Everybody we put up here, you just kind of knock them down. It's going to be good to have you back on the Strongest Badge card. I mean, you started out, I think you were on the first one, the second one, and then we missed you for a little bit. So it's going to be good to have that excitement back. I think you're 9-0 in super matches on these cards. So everybody knows you're a tough cookie to crack, that's for sure. Mirzad's not taking it lightly. I know that.
No pressure, right?
Oh no, none at all, none at all. It's a huge opportunity for him. So, it's a win-win. I think regardless, it'll be good to see where he's at, and hopefully it gives you a run for sure. How much is it helping in the gym that you have some of your teammates also have matches on the card as well? Is that a good factor in pushing you guys so that you could peak at the same time?
Always. I mean, anytime I'm gonna have an opportunity to, I'll turn down a bigger match for more money or something to go to a match where I know that some of my guys are going to be there just for that camaraderie, and just to have those guys with me. Because I mean, dude, I'm sorry, every other team in the United States. I know there's some bad dudes out there, but I would not pick any team on the face of this earth over the crew I roll with. Just from my background and some experiences I've been in my life and things, places I've been in my past, it's I can't even begin to tell you how good it is to have the group of guys that I know. I mean, it's so much more than arm wrestling. If God forbid something went crazy and went awry or whatever, what have you, I know that every individual that I roll with on that team, I promise you, they're in for blood. I know that they all have my back on and off the table. They've proven it time and time and again, and likewise for me. So, always going to take that opportunity to where I can travel with a few of the guys on the team, at least, if not all of them. We have a deep team, so it's hard to get us all to go in one place. A lot of us have kids and jobs, and we come from a lot of different walks of life. But it's always a much better opportunity for me when I can go with some of my guys, and you see us all geared out in the Psycho Armsports apparel, and looking tough, looking strong, and rolling in deep, man, like just an angry mob of some really solid, good dudes.
Should definitely be an interesting time. I'm looking forward to being able to hang out with you guys because usually it's always so short. So
yeah,
we should actually have some time.
I'm excited to get an opportunity to pull a couple of those guys. And there's some strong guys, and I believe that'll probably be in the weight classes I'll be pulling. So I haven't had an opportunity to pull a lot of them yet. So it should be interesting to see how it goes. I got my eye on a couple of people on that side of the state, if you will. So.
Yeah, we get Matt Ellis back too, so that's a big thing for us. So, can we go over the card a little bit? I want to get your thoughts on some of these other matches we got going on. What do you know about?
Absolutely.
What do you know about Lincoln Munger?
I have heard the name. I'm going to be honest. I haven't heard a whole lot or seen any footage on him, really. I don't even know what weight the guy is. I just know that I've seen the name, and therefore he's been making a bit of a buzz here lately, if I see it, because I'm not much of a computer guy or social media guy. So he's been making some stir somewhere.
Yeah, he trains with Austin Jagger, so he's kind of like Jagger's mouthpiece, I think. Sets up his matches and whatnot. And he's taking on Tim Lewis. He actually asked for the guy and said he wanted to hook him. He wanted a hook war with Tim Lewis. And then Tim was looking for a match, so I figured give him the shot.
Yeah, I mean Tim's a strong guy, man. Tim's got a W on me. He beat me in a super match several years ago, left-handed. I'll never take anything away from Tim. He's a big, strong guy. I think that match would be a complete different outcome nowadays, but I think anybody would say that after they took a loss to somebody. But yeah, I mean, I can't, unless it's somebody that I knew specifically, I couldn't bet against Tim, especially on that left side. He's a strong dude, man. I mean, especially if somebody wants to go and hook with him, he's a strong kid if he's got confidence going there. So could be a good matchup. I'd have to, just based off of the little I know about the other gentleman and what I do know about Tim, I'd have to give Tim the advantage in that one. Is it a best of 3, best of 5?
It'll be best of 5. Left-handed.
I'd go Tim 3-1 just for good measure.
Yeah, I think Tim's goal is to pull everybody on the planet, huh? I mean, he's got to have the super match record for sure.
Yeah.
He's got a good start.
Is there a weight cap for that match?
210 or 205 actually. 205 for some reason. Lincoln wanted him to cut the extra 5, maybe, because it's a 210 weight class for the tournament. But
for Tim, that's nothing. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't. He can make 200. So
the weight cuts I've seen him do in the past, I don't know how a person could do it. Obviously you have to have everything picture perfect or else you're going to miss. But back when WAL was around, he was cutting down to 165 and he was walking around, 185, 190. I don't know how he did it, but it was still competitive, obviously. So, yeah, I think Tim above 200 pounds in a hook is a long day for a lot of people.
It's not much different than Bo Oleson at 198, right?
That's what I was gonna say. I know a guy one time that cut from 258 to 198 in 62 days and went and won nationals right and left-handed.
Yeah, you guys are crazy with those big cuts.
You stay up there in that 200 plus range. I like you up there a lot better.
Oh, don't worry, brother. At 47, I will.
So the second matchup would be Oscar Anderson, a Gateway guy, versus one of your guys, I believe, Joel Cagle. He's a Psycho guy, right?
Absolutely, he is.
So you're rooting for your guy, but he's stepping into some deep waters with Oscar Anderson.
Oscar's a bad dude, man. I give credit to Oscar. He's came a long way. He's gotten really strong, and he's developed that kind of off kilter, good little lock where he's gotten strong there, and he's definitely not to be taken lightly. Joel's super explosive. He's a really good arm wrestler. He's one of our smaller guys, but he's got the guys that he gets to train with on our squad when he does get up here. He's got some good guys to work with, some lighter guys that are really, really good, really proficient arm wrestlers. Guys like Cody Vanderwoord and Michael Creason and my two assistant coaches. He gets to work with those guys when he comes up a lot. He gets to spend some time with Caleb Rout, with Squatch, our other teammates. So I got good confidence in him. I'm going to have to go. Obviously, he's my teammate. I'm going to go with Joel, but just based off of what I know about both arm wrestlers and stuff, I would lean towards Joel anyway. Just his style. I think he's Oscar's came leaps and bounds from when he first started. But I just think that Joel's style, Joel's pretty versatile too. I think he's going to be able to hit a couple different movements if he needs to be able to kind of get the W. So I would go with Joel over Oscar 3-1 on that, just to give Oscar one for good measure.
Well, yeah, Joel is I guess would be considered a smaller guy, I guess, because he pulls in the 155. He's kind of a 155 guy, but they're pretty much the same weight. I would assume that Joel's probably a 165 walking around. I wouldn't think he's much smaller than that.
No, I think you're probably right. He cuts when he has to go. I know that he cuts to get under 160, so he's got to be somewhere in that ballpark. Yes.
Yeah, and I think Oscar's under 172. He's usually about 168 or something like that. So size-wise, he's just kind of a small guy for what Oscar's used to. I think Oscar's used to pulling bigger guys, so that the speed could definitely be a factor there. But it's got him training at least and got him doing it. Oscar kind of took a break away too, where he wasn't doing a lot, and taking the match got him fired up. So it's good to see him back and rolling again too. So there's one thing that is going to bring us some excitement. Both of those guys are pretty crazy on the table, so it'll get the crowd amped up.
For sure.
So that takes us into Caleb Velasco coming all the way from California. You might know him as Caleb Armbender. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Against Sam Taylor, who's a Missouri resident, I believe, as well. So what do you think of that one?
I've seen a few matches from he's a Cali kid, and he's from California.
Yep.
Yes. I've seen a few of his matches. He's had some decent wins. I've seen him have some success. I think he's going to have a really rough day with Sam Taylor, man. Sam Taylor is a bad dude for a guy that not many people have heard of yet, but I assure you a whole lot of people are going to hear about him. And on top of that, he's that guy where you would make far more money on a Sam Taylor if you were going to go drag him around bars and roadside attractions. Absolutely, man. I mean, he's that guy that is just the most unsuspecting. He's kind of starting to develop he's getting a build. He's getting some bulk on him, but he was kind of an unsuspecting looking badass man, but he's really starting to kind of come into that kid's got one heck of a hand and wrist, and he's he's really adamant about his training, and from just
Mm-hmm.
from the people I know, I have some friends that are really close with him that know him really well. So he's been hitting it hard, man. So I don't know a whole lot about the Caleb guy, but I'm definitely going to go with Sam on that one for sure. And I'd have to go if it's best of five. I'd go 3-1 for sure.
Yeah, Sam. Sam's got to be the favorite, I would assume. Caleb said that they did meet up. I don't know if it was nationals possibly, and Sam definitely got the best of him in that one. So he kind of knows what he's up against for sure, and up for the challenge. So hopefully he brings it. It's going to be good to have some of those California guys come over. I don't get a lot of West Coast coming all the way this way, so having those guys will be pretty cool.
How old is Sam? He's a little bit younger, isn't he?
Yeah, I would say he's like early 20s.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it, Bo. He's so unassuming. When you look at him, you're like, just an average guy walking around, and then all of a sudden he shows up on the table, and you're like, oh, okay.
People are starting to know
Yeah.
who he is now, though, I think. Plus, he was in
Yeah.
that big round robin not long ago, so that kind of puts some eyes on him as well. So
Yeah.
once people know who he is, he might start having a little tougher time when he's not getting underestimated as much. We got Cole Casper stepping up into the 172s, and he actually asked for this match. He asked for your teammate, one of your assistants as well, I believe, Cody Vanderveer, right?
Yes, Cody Vanderwoord. Yep.
Vanderwood, right. So, yeah, Cole actually asked for that match, so he wanted Cody, and Cody stepped up, and he didn't even think twice to take that match. So that should be a good one. A lot of power on that table for sure. Cody's always a gamer. Cole just looks super strong. He is also pulling up, but they're about the same weight as well. I think even though Cole's pulling up from 155, I don't think they're walking too far apart. Cody might cut to get 72, but he's pretty much probably, I would assume, walking about 75, 78.
I believe so. He's right in that ballpark. I know that he's been keeping her pretty low here the last couple of years. He's brought his weight down quite a bit. He's done it really healthily too. Yeah, I mean, Cole's a super strong kid. He's had some real success. I've seen him get some huge wins on some big arm wrestlers. I kind of remember the kid, the first few tournaments of him when he very first started coming out, and he's just came leaps and bounds from them. I can't say enough good things about Cody Vanderwoord, though, man. I mean, he's been on my team for I think it's been about 7, 8 years probably now. I've been assistant coach for about probably 4 to 5 of those. I mean, he's a workaholic. He's a great athlete. He really is passionate about the sport and wanting to train and learn. I mean, he spends far more time learning things about the sport more so than I do. I mean, I arm wrestle. I've been arm wrestling for a long time. I have a lot of random obtuse techniques from arm wrestling for so long, but Cody is a really, really smart arm wrestler, does his homework. He's in the gym. He's eating right. He's doing everything he can possibly do right. I would have to always pick my guy, man. Cole's a super strong kid. I look for him to do huge things. I'm just really confident in Cody's training and the power he has. I know because he spends a lot of his time in the gym strapped up to me, pulling with me, learning new angles, new moves, working on different techniques and things. So definitely going to go with Cody there. I will give Cole a W just for good measure because he's a super strong kid, and I think he's going to do big things. This is one of those matches where it could be crazy, man. These guys are both super strong guys. You're going to go with Cody with a 3-1. A good, solid performance out of both guys, but definitely going to go with Cody for the W.
Matt, you got any thoughts?
Oh man, this is a tough one because I've obviously seen Cody a lot because he's in the Midwest, so I've seen him pull numerous guys around here, and I'll say for his weight, like he looks a lot bigger than what he pulls, right? Like he's consistently pulling bigger guys, and obviously has a great team to pull with. And on the flip side, each of these guys to me are on the ascend. So it's interesting to see who's going to have the upper hand in this match. I know Casper has really turned a corner here in the last 24 months. He's super strong. He's consistently pulling above his weight class and holding his own more so than anything. This is a tough one. I think it's going to come down to a match difference. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be a grinder either way. I think if Cody comes in amped up and prepared, I think it's going to be tight. And I don't want to say which way it's going to go because I can't tell you. I've watched both of them and their styles. I think that's very, very, styles are very similar in a lot of aspects. But I think what it's going to come down to is who's going to make the switch. If they can't find their lane, are they going to try something different or continue to go down the same avenue, right? So who's going to be more versatile when they hit adversity first? Who's going to stay calm when it stops on the table and, adjust to make the other person make a mistake and then compromise. So I'd love to see Cody win this, but I think I might have Cole maybe edging it out by one. But I think it's going to be super close and very entertaining to watch.
Sure.
Definitely, and a big one for Cody because Cole's ranked number 10 right now, so that would that'd give Cody a nice little spot in the top 10 in the country.
Yeah,
that's a good spot to be at. So,
absolutely,
I'm positive he's not taking it lightly. So this is a great opportunity for him, and if I'm not mistaken, this is probably one of the bigger super matches he's had here recently. So I'm positive that he's training like a maniac, and he's still got time to turn that corner. And I hope he wins. Just from a regional aspect, I hope he pulls it out.
Thank you for that, brother. Yeah, he's been working super hard, man. I know he's been really, really thirsty. He had a really big match with Dustin Hyatt, when Dustin was kind of on the up and coming down at the Monster Factory. And I know Cody's been just absolutely bloodthirsty since that match. So I know that he's really ready for this. He's looking forward to it. And I think it says a lot about Cody himself, just the fact that Cole, with the success he's been having recently, that he's calling for Cody, that he's asking for Cody. That says a lot about the people that call you out. It says a lot about where you're at right now in your current arm wrestling,
Yeah, definitely.
Scott Wynn, another California guy and old school puller, coming all the way from California to face one of our guys, Billy Cripp. What do you think of that?
Good match. Billy's a stud. He's had some good wars with Cody, and I've seen him do some really impressive things too, man. He's got a heck of a good hand and wrist. And he's a smart arm wrestler. Seems to be pretty versatile. I love Scott, man. Scott's my boy. I got to go with Scott. I will give Billy some. I'll give him many credits, man. I will say, is it a best of 5, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Scott 3-2. That's going to be a good match. It's going to be a grinder. Scott's a badass, dude. He's been arm wrestling well longer than I have. I know Scott is going to be there ready to go to war, and a lot of people sleep on Scott. He's a badass, man, and I'm not just saying that because he's my bro. he's a badass, and he's got a lot of places he can go. He's got a super strong hand and wrist. He's got a great hook. Billy's gonna have his work cut out for him. It's gonna be a good match, but I'll go with Scott 3-2.
Would you still go Scott 3-2 if he decides to pull in Arizona the week before that match?
Scott's pulling in Arizona the week before that match?
He said he's going to Arizona, so whether he's pulling or not, I don't know, but he's making the trip there, so it's hard not to get on the table.
I highly doubt he's going to pull.
All right, well, let's hope not, because I think that changes a little bit. I know he might not think so, but
I would say that it could definitely potentially change things. If it does, I'll readjust.
You readjust?
Yeah.
Well, you would be up next in this situation. I know you got yourself over Mirzad, so we could probably skip that one. We kind of talked about it already a little bit. Kevin Palco and your teammate Jake Houston. Should be a good match. This one's happening at 165, which means neither of them have to cut walking in. I'd have to say that favors Jake, even though I know Jake doesn't have a problem making 155. I think he's probably the bigger guy overall, so I would assume that puts to his favor a little bit. But then again, Palco's used to pulling at 155, so him being able to just walk in and not cut, that's a benefit to him as well. So Palco's definitely looked a lot more human lately than he did there for a minute. He looked pretty much unstoppable. He beat Roman when he stopped him in the Arnolds, and he just had a nice little run there where he looked unstoppable. And then I guess this this round robin kind of made him look human. He was like 5 days after that Arm Wars match, and I don't know if you guys got to see that match, but if you're in a grinder like that, that's got to affect you 5 days later. So he didn't make any excuses for that. I'm just saying from the outside looking in that maybe that's that. But I don't know. I mean, this one, I know Jake's coming in really hungry for this one. So I'm not sure how hungry Palco is at this point, and hunger could be a thing, right?
Absolutely. I think it always probably is. I mean, I just have full confidence in Jake. Jake's if you guys have never pulled with Jake or gripped up with Jake, or whatever, the dude is a freaking. I mean, I feel like his hand and wrist feels scarier than what mine would at 235. He's got a really, really good hand and wrist, man. I mean, even when we're pulling, if I pull him over, I'm never getting into his hand and wrist. I pull through his arm. He's that strong. I mean, he's got a 225 plus male pro's hand. So it's just one of them things. It just depends. I don't know. I can't imagine Kevin's hand being anywhere near as big or as dominant as Jake's. Hence probably the hook so much. It just kind of depends where it goes. I'm definitely going to pick Jake. Worst case scenario, I'll pick Jake 3-1 if Kevin can force him into a hook and get Jake impatient. I don't think that he has the power to beat Jake off the go for sure. I think it's definitely going to go to Jake's side of the table every time. I think he's going to pull him over right away. Definitely got to go with Jake though. It's going to be a good match. He's a bad dude. He's made some big waves lately, but I just got to go with Jake. I know where he's at right now, and I know what he's just been through. And holy smokes, man, this is a guy that's lucky and thankful to be alive, man. So I mean, you have that opportunity to go, and it's cloud nine right now. So it's all Jake Houston day, baby.
And is he back? Do you think he's like at the top of where he's been too, better than he was before at this point, like the best he's ever been right now? Because the last couple times that I've seen him on the table has looked rather potent.
I mean, I feel like he is every bit as strong and as efficient as he ever was, for sure, if not more. He's up there. He's up there in North Dakota, so he's doing his own training regimen up there. He gets down here when he can. He's obviously still on the team and always will be. He's a lifer. But he's been working hard, man. He's got a good group of guys. There's a few guys up there that I've become buddies with too. That he trains with, and they're great guys, and they work each other hard, and they're hitting it really hard. So Jake's looking really good, feeling really good, and like I said, from what he's just been through, he's a world champion. I mean, in my opinion, like he's just where he's at right now is just it's awesome. So I'm gonna definitely lead toward Jake and hope for a good match because I want to see a grinder. I want Jake to prove to everybody. I don't want him just to blast him, but like I said, 3-1.
Right.
Both such a nice guy. He doesn't want to say what he's really thinking. I know better. I know it. No, I agree with Bo. I think this is going to be a fun one to watch because to me it's conflicting styles, right? Like we know Kevin's nasty in a hook when he can get there, but as you mentioned, Jake's hand and wrist are phenomenal for his size and way above his weight. So it's hard not to be a fan of him based on personal things that have happened in the past. So I would say it's that's pretty fair when it's 3-1. I think if it stops, it gives Palco a better opportunity to win the match, but I don't know if he can do that, against Jake's hand and wrist. It should be interesting to see though the two different styles going at it, see who can adjust first.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a good opportunity as well. I mean, Kevin was ranked number 1 there for a second, so I mean he had an opportunity to be at the top. I think he's dropped down now at this point. However, being at 165, I'm not sure how they're going to look at that. Obviously, they're both 154 guys, so it probably should go that way. I'm just not sure how they will look at that. But leads into our right now the top one. We do have a couple more matches probably going to pop in, but Austin Tevis versus Dustin Hyatt at 172. That's an interesting match. I mean, not only is it two of the top guys in that division, but I think just stylistically it's an interesting match. You agree?
I think it's a great match. Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, that Austin kid's strong shit. Pardon my language. That kid's strong, and he's been out here a few times. He trains up there with Ryan, those guys, but he's been out here a couple times. That kid's hand and wrist are ridiculous. I mean, you can tell I think he's a stone, maybe he's a brick mason or a stoneworker or something, but his hands are ridiculous, man. Once again, he's one of them guys where you're not taking his hand. Um, I mean, he's pulled over some people he probably should have never beaten, pulled over, but he has. Uh, Dustin's a badass too, man. Like he doesn't beat Cody the way he did without being a complete badass. Dustin's done some really big things. I look for him to do many more huge things. I think he's still an up and comer, as is Austin. I think right now, I think Austin is too strong. That doesn't mean Dustin can't win the match or can't get in the match. I think he can absolutely get in there if he gets him drawn out into a big hook and gets him inside on his side of the table and can just be patient. I think he could maybe make Austin get a little impatient and make a mistake. Maybe, I don't know. I shouldn't assume. Austin's really strong. He's had some really good wins here lately, so we'll see what happens. But I will go. That could be a burner. I'm going to go Austin 3-2 on that match.
Matt?
I think he's got a little closer than I do. I think it's a little bit more lopsided, honestly. I think, like you mentioned, Austin is, for being as new to the sport as he is, he's extremely strong. I think the way Dustin could potentially pull this one out and make it close is it's going to have to be his versatility and his being able to, transition on the table. If he stops the match is where I'm really interested, because at this point, in my opinion, I haven't really seen Austin in too many grinders where he's had to fight through different positions to get the win. I think he's been fortunate enough to just overpower people with his hand or through a hook. So it's like Bo mentioned, I think it's going to be Dustin playing a catching game, on Austin's side of the table and waiting it out and hoping it comes back to a neutral spot in the table and then transitioning into something else. I would say Austin wins this and Dustin takes a match, if I had to just throw a guess out there.
What was it? One match?
Yeah. I think I trust me. I'm a Dustin Hyatt fan. I think he's done an incredible job, with what he's been doing. But I think Austin doesn't get enough due at this point because he's a newer guy. A lot of people don't know him, and he hasn't traveled as much as some of these other guys at that weight class. But I think this will kind of be one of those coming out parties, if you will, where he kind of gets seen a little bit more and people start recognizing what he's capable of.
Yeah, he came out to Kansas City, was at the Nationals for USAF, and it wasn't huge, but he pulled with Simon there, and Simon's, a highly ranked guy, and, I mean, he blasted him, just blasted him pretty much to the pad, and even afterwards, Simon was like, that dude's legit. He's like, he's pulled with some of the top guys, and for how long, and overseas, and he was like, that guy's legit already, and he's less than 2 years in, I think.
Yeah.
With his first tournament at Lawson, when I was out there, he was beating guys. He didn't even realize he was beating guys that were pretty good. Where I was like, "Hey, man, you're beating guys you probably shouldn't be beating already. So if you stay with it."
Yeah.
And I mean, he went so high so quick, just crazy. I mean, he was even in that left-handed match with Devin Bear, and Devin Bear just won because he's just been arm wrestling for decades. So he out-experienced him and grinded him out and pulled it in. So I do think that gets interesting. It's almost like Austin's got to be the favorite for sure in the first match, And then the longer that match goes, I think you've seen it, that Dustin seems to be able to find a lane somewhere and just seem to hold on. So it makes it really interesting to see who can hold out longer. But I think Austin is ready to prove that he deserves to be talked about for sure. He could tell the hunger's inside of him. And Dustin is always a gamer. He's not coming to lose either. So I can only expect fireworks in that match, I think, for sure. It's got to be just exciting no matter which way it goes. Even if it was 3-0 or 3-2, either way, I think it's exciting no matter how you look at it.
it's hard for me to say somebody's going to sweep a super match because that's almost impossible unless it's a complete mismatch, in my opinion. But, I think for Dustin to find a road to victory, he's going to have to get multiple restarts, bleed him in the setup, and really just drag it out as long as possible. Because in my opinion, the longer those matches drag on, the more of a better opportunity he has to win it. Because Austin hasn't been in those grinders, you don't really see him manipulating in the setup and people really fighting him too much. So I think he's going to have to pull a lot of tricks out to pull off a victory, and I think he's capable of it. But unfortunately, I think Austin's just a little too much.
Speaking of making it last longer, so if you have your choice of referees for your match, Bo, first Mirzad, with who we have available, who are you choosing?
I'm not sure who all the referees are, buddy.
It'll be Sean Hancock, Leonard Harkless, Keith Michelle for your head refs. You also got Rance Clayton, Pat Barry, John Peters on the downside.
Pat and Leonard.
Pat and Leonard. Sounds like the going rate. Everybody likes Leonard. He's the guy. Nobody seems to complain too much with him. That's for sure.
That entire lineup of referees they're great, though. I mean, no matter who you pick out of that whole lineup, I mean, you're going to get a great experience with all of them. So,
yeah, should be all right. The whole experience should be good. The venue's nice. The card's set up. What do you think about pulling on Friday night? Is that better or worse for you, Bo?
I can't recall if I've ever done that before, man. Maybe for some of the WL stuff, it kind of got crazy. There was all kind of weird stuff going on for that damn thing. I'm cool with it. I think it's great, man. I'm not quite sure. Obviously it depends on how I feel post super match. On whether or not I'll pull in the tournament the next day. My left is feeling good enough to pull, as long as like I said, nothing crazy goes, or so. I dig it because it can give me more. I would even enjoy it more if I wasn't going to pull and I knew I wasn't going to pull on Saturday, because I could focus 100% on working with the guys and just being there with the other guys and stuff. But I like it. I think it could be really cool, and I like the fact that it's a 2-day thing. It kind of makes a weekend of it. It's kind of taking it back old school, man.
Yeah, it's the first time I tried it too. It just seemed when I had it split up before, in between the amateurs and the pros, it was making the tournament just spread out too long. It was just too long. You can't hold people's attention that long. People are just done with it. So I figured I was going to cut the super matches altogether, but people don't seem to like that too much. So I figured let's just do it the night before, make it a show, and blow out the tournament in 6 hours no matter what the next day. Just get it done with. So we'll see how it works.
Bo, are you planning on coming down on Thursday?
Not 100% decided yet. It kind of depends on just a few things with kids and dogs and stuff like that. But definitely going to come down early Friday morning. I don't suspect there being any issue with my weight, so don't really need to get there any earlier. Like I said, I could walk on right now. I mean, I've already ate dinner and everything. I could walk on. I still think I'm sub 240, probably 2 or 3 pounds. So not going to be an issue as far as that goes. Just depends. I may come down Thursday. I may just come up Friday.
Gotcha. And I know you said you're coming down in weight. What is your long-term goal? And we're talking, the next year, 3 years. Are you looking to get back in that 198 or that 200-pound class, or do you have other prospects in mind?
Kind of just want to keep it. I mean, I can bang with the bigger guys, man. I mean, I held ranking for a long time, quite a few years, in the 242. So I mean, I can bang with those guys. I would just like to be a little bit lighter for health reasons and just some other stuff. I'm getting older. I'm 47. I'm just trying to kind of watch my health just a little bit more. Trying to exercise more and do more things with my kids and stuff. So just trying to get down more so for that. But on top of that, for arm wrestling, I'd like to be around 220, just to be able to, if I have to, how much am I going to really shake up at 242, man? I need to be 220 to where I can make that 200-pound or 198 if it's for $2,500 or something fun. But I just want to be a little bit lighter, to be a little bit more versatile as far as weight is concerned.
You really think you can make 198?
I could for $2,500.
There you go. I assumed that you probably wanted to climb down a little bit, in weight. I was just curious what the goal was, and who. I don't want to ask who you're looking to pull, because obviously that kind of puts you on the spot. But is there any tournaments, beyond strongest badge that you're looking at to hit, either regionally, nationally, internationally? Is what's on your target list, if you will?
I mean, and we've got some stuff coming up. Cody puts on a tournament down in Oklahoma every year. I know there's a few of the other guys on the team got a few matches coming up here, actually right before the St. Louis thing. They're still going to be at the St. Louis event. But there's just a few things coming up that I'm looking forward to hitting with the guys. As far as big tournaments concerned, I had been planning on Michigan State. Just time, money, work, some other things came up. Just couldn't make it happen this year. It's unfortunate. I need to go back. They gave me the wrong gorilla the last time I was there. So I got to go back and get the right color. The gold was off just a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
You could get a gladiator instead.
Yeah. Now that's what I'm coming for, brother.
Well, I do hope that you are able to pull the tournament after your super match. I'm glad that you and your team are coming down. I appreciate you being on here, coming down, supporting the event. It's going to be a good time hanging out with you. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys train well, stay healthy as you're training, and you come in strong and ready to go, and I do appreciate you talking to us.
I appreciate you guys too, man. Thanks for having me, and I always appreciate you, man, and all the props you give myself and my team. And it's a blessing to be buddies with both of you guys. And I got a lot of love and respect for both of you guys. So thank you so much for letting me come on, and looking forward to hanging out and seeing you guys here real soon, man.
You as well, man. Thanks, guys.
Psycho Armsports. All right, brother. Hey, you had some good matches the other day, bro.
I'm still out of shape, my man. I'm still getting back into it.
Who was it?